Hello Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're going to build a painter's retreat for Curt. And maybe this is mean or judgmental to say, but Curt does not look like the kind of guy who's asking for a painter's retreat. And I looked into his character a little bit more, and there doesn't seem to be anywhere that says he likes painting or anything of that nature. Though I suppose he is a cranky villager, which I'm sure you can forgive me for not knowing because the man's wearing an MVP shirt. And he has been wearing an MVP shirt since like the first Animal Crossing game. It just seems a little incongruent to me. Obviously people are complex, but he's an Animal Crossing bear. Though I found myself on Wikipedia reading his profile just because I was trying to figure this out in my brain. It doesn't say he likes sports either. And my god, Animal Crossing characters used to have their own individual personality. Or at least this is the conclusion I have come to after reading exactly one personality description on Wikipedia. According to this description, he likes fishing and gardening and hunting fossils, and apparently also admires hobos. After I'm finished recording this, I'm gonna go see if I can find other good ones, because I had been referring to a separate Wikipedia and they just paste the regular personality description under everyone's. And I'm sure as we get later on in games, some animals won't have this sort of intricate personality. Do let me know if you have played some of the older games. How long ago was it that animals stopped being individuals? Because I object. Though I suppose there's now like 413 villagers, so it may be hard to have individual personalities for each and every one of them. But honestly, I'd much rather have fewer villagers who seem more like real people than these villagers that we have, which could totally be a me thing, and I'm sure there are upsides to it. And other people seem successful in creating these stories and intricate, individualized personalities for their villagers. I, however, do not have that gift. Anyway, I guess we should talk about the build now. Here we are struggling with the kitchen, because kitchens are hard. Or at least for me, they're hard because you can't just have individual counters that are a reasonable size. But we are going to accept our fate and make the room bigger in just a minute. It's just in my head it was like a painter's cabin, so it'd be all like little inside. Instead, we're going to end up with an 8x8 square. In the end, however, I am very happy with this build. So let me know down in the comments what you think of it. Maybe also let me know if you're artistic in any sense of the word. Me personally, I am not. I would like to be. Like, I think in my brain, like, the aesthetic of it seems appealing, but I cannot draw to save my life. Here we are making a very questionable decision about fridge placement, but also I kind of like it. Obviously, in real life, not being able to access your sink would be terrible, but this is Animal Crossing. He's never gonna do those dishes, or make more dishes. So why not put a fridge in front of your sink? And now we've gone back to old habits and added those partition things so they could be like counters. Essentially, this build has sort of 4 quadrants, as I always do. Please, somebody help me. Do you know how to not make it into like 4 separate things? Please, tell me all of your secrets. Anyway, in the front of the cabin you have the kitchen and then his bedroom area. In the back we have sort of working areas. Off on the right side of the cabin we have sort of more of a like, I don't know, like physical crafty area. Like, I guess to make sculptures or something. Maybe he just builds all of his own canvases. I suppose if you live out in the woods you can't just like pop out to the shop to get a new canvas, right? I do consider the display stand for a hot minute, but I don't want this build to be too similar to my Hippo studio, which is probably one of my favorite builds I've ever done. You haven't seen it. Do let me know if maybe you want me to do a tour of some of my favorite builds I've done. But here we are building out that sort of painting area. This game doesn't have in-progress paintings or empty canvases, and so Curt is a masterpiece painter. Okay, idea here. He lives out in the woods because he's actually forging a bunch of famous paintings rather than painting things himself. We could say he sells them to Red, but I imagine he's better at it than that. Though I guess the reason why Red's forgeries are not perfect is probably so he can skirt the law a little bit. Like, technically, because they are not perfect replicas, they are in fact original paintings. And somehow that makes it legal? Look, headcanon doesn't have to make sense, right? I do give him a reading area because he asks for stacked books, but also just because I can't not, apparently. Okay, so I've been trying to be better at the sort of editing of the audio, but we are getting a little close to the wire here. I was supposed to have recorded the build footage yesterday so I could edit this in the morning like I usually do. But yesterday was a very bad day and this build took longer than anticipated. So hopefully you won't hold it against me. Anyway, my pop filter arrives tonight, so that should make recording audio slightly faster if I don't have to keep consistently re-recording. I will still have to keep consistently re-recording, but I won't have to stop every time I say a P or a B, which will cut down the number of mistakes quite a lot. So I do apologize, but please prepare yourself for some very rambling. Here we've added a gnome on the inside. He got pretty excited when I added the gnome. So we're going to put a bunch more outside, but we'll get to that when we get to that, I suppose. For now, we're just looking at foodstuffs. I'm not sure that having food in the first place was a good idea, but it is already done, so. Anyway, I give him like a fancy pumpkin soup and then some ramen. We are going to move the soup and put in its place my absolute favorite item, the open chip bag. Here we are deciding that we need a lantern. I don't really know why we need a lantern, but we do. And we gotta give it its own chair too, so you can see it. Look, I never claimed to be logical or practical about my decisions. Hell, I put a fridge in front of the sink. I mean, honestly, you should be hiring me to decorate your places. In the comments, why don't you let me know which piece of art is your favorite in Animal Crossing, or what your favorite piece of art in general is, if that's the kind of thing that you know. Personally, being that general just means I can't tell you what my favorite thing is. But in Animal Crossing, my favorite painting is definitely the sinking painting, or Ophelia. I actually recently watched a really cool video of a girl who made her own version of Ophelia, like actually went to a place and took reference pictures and then repainted the painting. A, putting yourself in a lake is real dedication to your art, and B, it just turns out absolutely beautiful. I do, however, not know who that person was, so I apologize. If you know, do let me know. Here we are adding in our open bag, because you know, best item in Animal Crossing, obviously. We do leave him without any way to play music because the speaker he wanted didn't fit anywhere, and then I didn't really have a place to put a separate music player, so instead he got some plants, which, I don't know, seems kind of like a fair trade in my opinion. And we have finally moved on to the walls. This is exciting. Well, not really, but I mean, you know what I mean, right? I did mean to put more of the actual art on the walls, but by the time we were doing this, I had completely forgotten that was a thing that I meant to do. So instead, he just gets the regular things I put on the walls all the time, and a space poster. Don't worry, we also managed to get the Loch Ness Monster in there. I'm also going to hang a mounted fish in a minute. However, that's going to be on the other side of the wall. This side consists of more sort of typical stuff I put on walls usually. You know, like pull out the custom designs and all. And we're going to use the fancy fairy tale words. I can't help myself. I am a creature of habit. This really is sort of what I like so much about Happy Home Paradise, is that they put me out of my comfort zone a lot. This obviously is very much in my comfort zone, but you do feel real accomplished when you manage to pull off something like a gym, if that's not the kind of thing you regularly build. I don't know that I've actually managed a fitness build successfully, but the only way I'll manage to is if I keep trying. I really do think that most of getting good at building is just building. Though I guess if you do something all of the time, eventually you get better at it, right? Or maybe I'm getting worse. Let me know. The pots, of course, are another item I use all of the time, and also the spider webs. And I mean, for the first couple of builds on this channel, they didn't fit, but now they've recently been fitting, and so there's been spider webs everywhere. Which, again, in real life, terrifying and extremely stressful. In Animal Crossing, real freaking cute. The ceiling items aren't really anything special, but we do get to give him 3 of these birds, which I'm justifying because he asked for them. I don't know that the formation ended up quite the way I wanted it to. However, I do certainly think it is passably good. And then to stick with the rule of 3s, I guess, we're gonna give him 3 of these lights. At which point we can be done with the inside and finally go outside. Where, again, I think I like the exterior. Genuinely, we started this channel me saying you can't do exteriors, and then I just kept doing exteriors, and they were all kind of at least reasonable, except for poor Lucy. But you guys didn't have to see Lucy's, so. Besides, if the internet didn't know, it didn't happen, right? So we have colored it as a very typical cabin in the woods. I do like me a cabin in the woods. Do any of you like Evil Dead? Particularly Evil Dead the musical? Because it is absolutely a hilarious musical. So funny, so good. 10 out of 10, would recommend. obviously not family friendly. It's just that every time I say cabin in the woods, I just hear the song in my head all of the time. You'd be amazed at how many times I've said cabin in the woods recently. Or maybe not. I mean, we've built a lot of them. So the one thing I would do over, if I could do it over, is not have that seating area there. By the time that I remember that I wanted to have canvases so it could look like he was painting outside, most of the build is done, and it's all sort of anchored around the seating area. There wasn't any space to move it, and he still needed to have that table. And so we accepted that it wasn't perfect. And we've also got a telescope. To be fair though, he did ask for it, which is entirely my excuse, that I have used one in pretty much every build for quite a few builds now. I do apologize. I am trying to sort of diversify and not do the exact same thing every single time, and also to sort of not do two of the same kind of builds back to back, because I want it to be varied. You don't just want to watch me do the same thing every single time. Though, I mean, I do think in the end none of them look exactly the same, and in my defense, the animals only ask for like a couple of different things. Obviously it sort of mixes it up with like the theme and the things that they want and that sort of thing, but how many times can you build a gym? Here we are trying to make the glowing moss jar work again. God, Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Which is just one of those things my brain interjects with all of the time, and I'm gonna leave it in. Let me know if you think it is awful or kind of cute and quirky, because I can definitely give you more of these strange, weird interjections. And now we're adding bushes, because bushes are good. Also trying real friggin' hard to figure out where we want the lights to go. I don't know why we tried so hard about it, because in the end I don't even think it's dark enough for the lights to turn on, but we do spend quite a bit of time trying to deal with it. And now we are adding black tulips, and only tulips. Don't have time for variety when you're running against the clock. The goal is just to make it look not empty, I guess. But now we're gonna pull out some fun things, like the gnomes, and also a duck and a bunny. I do end up putting the gnomes on like most of the mushrooms, which I think is kind of fun. Also maybe just like tacky and lame, but I am kind of tacky and lame. And I just like garden gnomes, though I do like to pretend that they are sentient and alive and evil. But look, life is much more fun when you're pretending to live in a magical realist world. Because genuinely, if someone would let me, I would step into fairy tales right now. Instead, however, we've got this world. Significantly less magical, but it's what we've got. And now we're going to make it evening time, and then I'm going to realize there is supposed to be painting outside. I do suppose the painting part of Painter's Retreat sort of slipped my mind for a little while. And look, we're back to using Ophelia. See, this is proof that the man is forging the paintings. I mean, why else would he have multiple copies of the exact same painting? It's not just that I like the painting and totally forgot about it being inside or anything. Nope, definitely not that one. But we have come to the end, and here is the reveal. I don't know, I think I'm really proud of this one. Let me know maybe what you think of it down below, or what you did with Curt's Painter's Retreat. We do cut out the actual photo taking section because the video is running long and I was running out of time, and no one has told me whether or not this is a thing you do or do not want. Please, somebody, let me know what you think. Anyways, this is the end of the video, so do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye!